How many people would say that if you just could find the right guy or gal, everything would change in your business? Raise your hand. Okay, so we all agree that a really big problem is employees. And is it any wonder why employees are a big problem? Because aren't we really in the business of selling people? We don't sell cleaning. We sell the guy or the gal that comes to our customers' homes that just so happens to be holding squeegees, pressure washers, etc. So if you think about that concept that we're actually in the business of selling our employees rather than selling our services, everything will change for you in your business. When I started realizing that if I could just get good quality employees and I could get them engaged in what I wanted them to do, everything could change for my business. So the title of this talk is How to Attract and Retain Viciously Loyal and Productive Employees. How awesome does that sound? Come on, how awesome does that sound? Wake up, guys. Wake up. Here we go. Okay, so this is going to be a lot of really practical application. I do open things up for questions. We have an hour and 45 minutes. So how many people have seen this talk at like the huge convention? Anyone here? 2, 3, 4 people? Okay, so I'm going to be including a lot of extras in this talk that I did not include in the huge convention. I have extra slides in this, and I'm also going to go a little bit deeper. And I'm going to open up the conversation to the room as well, because one thing that's really cool is we have this peer learning opportunity to where all of us as CEOs and presidents of companies can actually help each other and collaborate and build up everyone. So I want to be able to take advantage of that too. So we'll do that kind of towards the end of the talk. So first of all, let's talk about how much does it really cost your business to lose an employee? Why is this topic so important? You know, you see Johnny going down the road. You're like, Johnny, he's my best technician. No, I spent so much time getting him trained. I spent so much time teaching him all the ropes. All my customers love Johnny. They ask for Johnny by name. And then when you see Johnny walking down the road, that's a really, really sad thought. So what's the true cost of turnover? Let's think about all the things that impact how much it actually costs to turn over an employee. We have to go out and do new job ads. Maybe go spend some money in Indeed.com. We have to spend our valuable time or one of our team members' valuable time interviewing and actually getting them all set up. We have to go through the screening process. We have to actually hire and onboard them, get them set up with ADP or Zenefits or our payroll provider. We have to get them trained. And there's also damages that new employees get. Just so happens that they end up breaking more stuff and breaking that new pressure washer that you have just because they don't quite understand exactly how to use it. We also deal with lost productivity. That's probably one of the biggest impacts. How many people have experienced the fact that when you hire a brand new person, it takes quite some time before they actually get up to speed. And typically they have to work at like a little bit slower of a pace, or they have to work more overtime hours to get normal amounts of work done. This is all something that you guys can plan for as you start turning over employees. You know what's going to happen. And then this is a big one. This is the intangible culture and morale. How many people have experienced when Johnny goes down the road, everyone else is like, did you hear the job that Johnny got? Oh man, it's like the promised land over there. He's making $30 an hour over there. He's only working 20 hours a week. And then all of a sudden this ripple effect starts happening throughout your company to where people start saying, well, why aren't I going over there? So there's lots of statistics that talk about what the true cost. I mean, this is a real cost. This is not a fabricated cost. Turning over one single employee for our company cost us over $5,600. Now in some more key positions like operations managers, office managers, salespeople, that cost can actually be a full year's salary. Full year's salary over time. So how many people agree it's important to keep the people that you have and be able to put the systems in place to actually make them want to work for you? This is one of my favorite quotes by Dave Anderson. It says, bold goals pursued by mediocre people will still result in mediocre results. How many people got some bold goals? One person's got some bold goals. High five. I'm talking to you right now. You got bold goals, baby. All you guys are like, you know what? We're just going to lower the bar. We're not going to reach for the stars. We're going to grab the lower stratosphere that's right above our head. No, you guys have bold goals, and I know you do. You would not have paid thousands of dollars to fly down to Cabo San Lucas. Well, maybe you would. But you wouldn't fly all the way down here, and you wouldn't be so involved in the education side of things if you guys didn't have bold goals. We all have bold goals. Just promoting yourself to be a CEO of a company is a bold goal. That takes boldness. Now, some of you may not feel like you have, like those bold goals are a little bit too far out of reach. Maybe you've been grinding and you've been hustling and you've been working really hard, and it just feels like those bold goals are so far away. The right people can change that. You can have everything you want in business. Everything you want in business if you can master two techniques, two things. Being a good trainer and being a good delegator. There was this amazing statistic.
I'm shaking my head because that's the one thing I can't do is delegate.
There's this one quote from Myron Golden where he actually laid out a chart and talked about different levels of income. And at the very, very bottom, it was working with your hands. Working with your hands. If you are a laborer, if you work with your hands to make your income, you will cap out at a certain amount of income. How many people agree with that statement? If you're a surgeon, and you work with your hands and you can make, good money, but in general, as far as labor is concerned, with what we do in the service industry, you could probably cap out working with your own hands, somewhere in the neighborhood of about $80,000 to maybe $100,000, which is not bad. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about why this topic is so important to me, why I'm really passionate about company culture. So my dad was an owner-operator window cleaner. He started All Clean Window Service in 1978. He's been washing windows for 33 years. My dad has had frozen shoulder syndrome. He's had hip replacements. He's had knee replacements. I've seen my dad who's, fit, low cholesterol, eats right, worked hard out in the field every single day. I've seen his body gradually deteriorate now to where he walks with a hunch now. In 2011, my dad was diagnosed with heart disease. Guess what it was from? It wasn't cholesterol. Yeah. Some people are whispering stress. It's almost like like maybe you've experienced some stress in your business. My dad's very A-type. Very, very A-type. So I've been working with him. I actually started working full-time with my dad cleaning windows at the age of 13. I homeschooled through high school and worked full-time with my dad washing windows 40 hours a week at age 13, 14. And worked with him all the way up to about 18 years old, and then I was Johnny. I was like, see you, Dad. I'm out of here. But the way that my dad was on the job is he was very, very particular with, if we run 5 minutes late to this job, then we're going to be 10 minutes late to the next job. If we're 10 minutes late to the next job, we won't be able to have lunch. We're going to be tired, and then it's going to slow us down in the afternoon. Then we're going to get home at 3:45 instead of 3:30. That was my dad. My dad was like, come on, Brandon, we got to pick up the pace. We got to pick up the pace. We got to pick up the pace. We got to get all the screens all done. We got to go to the screen. We got to get up there. I want to go up here. Just like running nonstop. He was just stressed out about everything. So when the doctor was examining his arteries, they said that it was not cholesterol that caused the blockage, not high cholesterol levels. It was the veins constricting and contracting that actually caused micro tears in the arterial walls, and that clogged with normal amounts, even low amounts of cholesterol. It snagged on those little hooks, basically, inside of his arteries. So in 2011, he was diagnosed with heart disease. He'd been working for 33 years as an owner-operator. And then he calls me up and says, Brandon, just met with the doctor. Said I can't work physically anymore. Basically, this movement here. Any hands over the top of the head, which is, window cleaning. That's basically like what you do every single day. You can do light physical work, you just can't carry anything over 20 pounds, can't climb up any ladders, and you can't do this. He's like, oh crap. Well, there goes that. So he told me he was just going to be a greeter at Walmart. He's like trying to figure out, he didn't have any retirement set aside, not a penny for retirement. He didn't have any backup plan. He had one single employee who, guess what, did not know enough to be able to take over the business because he needed to be in control of everything. No one could clean windows as good as my dad. Nobody could. We get in like heated debates over what type of squeegee rubbers you should use. It's like he cared that much about it. My dad is one of the hardest working men that I've ever known in my entire life. All of my customers absolutely loved him. But the one thing that he struggled with was letting go of that control and bringing more people on to pull himself out of the field. So 2012, I actually bought the business from my dad. He was doing about $8,000 a month in revenue. And I made an agreement with him that I would buy it for $3,000 a month payments for life. Now, if you do quick math in your head, $3,000 doing $8,000 a month in revenue, that's like a sizable chunk, but that's what my mom and dad needed to be able to continue living, paying bills. So I set out to say that, okay, I need to grow. And that was the biggest why for me, is that I wanted to take care of my mom and my dad. I wanted to make sure that they were okay. And I knew that I had to grow the business. So I had some bold goals. I started writing down on pen and paper how much I was going to do over the next 5 years and how I was going to grow 10, 15% year over year. And I realized that I had no clue what I was doing. I had no education that supported me. I had no college education. I didn't know anybody else that had any kind of business that was big, that was turnkey systems and everything else. I had to learn everything from scratch. I was literally where all of you guys are, and probably way less, starting out. So I knew I had to be good people, and I started out by getting a business coach. One of the first things that I did was got a coach, because you don't know what you don't know until you get someone else who does know to actually navigate you through it. So here's my dad cleaning windows. This was in 2000 and about 2010. Check his tricked out little vehicle down here. He's got the ground effects on there, the little visor, and the nice wheels, and the silver leaf lettering. Yeah, my dad was a player. This is Officer John Linnell from Cops. Anyone know the TV show Cops? He was one of our customers. He had a full-size, life-size poster of himself in his basement. So when he wasn't home, we had lots of fun playing little puppet John Linnell. I'm Officer John Linnell from Cops. This was the first day that I came back to help my dad out. It's kind of hard to see. We're actually taking a picture of a reflection of a refrigerator. Thought it would have been cooler, but that's what it turned out. But this was in 2012. My dad was literally just going around helping me clean screens, and I started taking over all the accounts and took over the business on this day. And then I was back in the thick of things, growing the business just like my dad was running the business, just like my dad was in the windows. This is my first soft wash job in 2013. I think this may have been one that I called Ray on. Mixing up my little single batch method there with my little 55-gallon drum, stirring a stick like a witch in the witch's brew. Had a little pump, sprayed calcium hypochlorite all over this roof, made a huge mess of everything. Big learning curve. And this is my first employee. This is Ryan. Ryan was amazing. He was mechanically minded, he was a hard worker, he was really driven. I had Ryan on my team for about a year. We became really, really good friends when we were working together. I mean, it's kind of hard not to become good friends with your employees. You're riding around the truck with them all day long. And then Ryan got really pissed off one day because he wasn't a partner in the business. And he had to be making just as much money as I was making. Where's my 401k? Where's my health insurance? I see how much money you make. I see the tickets. I know how much you're paying me. You never had an employee or experience like that?
Mm-hmm. So where's your risk at?
So here's my 7 employees. This was after a couple of years. We started growing. I blurred their faces for their own protection. We had 7 employees at the time. This was in 2015, actually. 2014, 2015. I just lost my brother to suicide. He was one of my employees. And that was in 2014. Our business kind of took a nosedive after that a little bit. In the very next spring, we started getting busy again. Everything started ramping up again. We were booked out solid for 2 months with every single one of these employees. And then right about like April, he came up to me and said, "Yeah, I got a better offer. I want to quit." He came up to me and said, "Hey, I got a better offer. I want to quit." About 1 week later. And then 2 more within another week said that they were quitting. I lost over half of my workforce over the course of about 2.5 weeks. In the middle of our busy season, we're booked out for 2 months, solid. This is when I had my first panic attack. Curled up on my couch, I cried like a baby. I was breathing through, I wanted to breathe through a paper bag, but literally I couldn't catch my breath. My heart was racing 200 beats a minute. I was freaking out. And the thing that pissed me off so bad was that I was a good boss. I gave my employees personal loans whenever they wanted it. If they showed up late, I was super, super gracious. "Oh, it's okay, man. Don't worry about it. No problem. Yeah, I'll come pick you up. No sweat." I gave them any vacation days that they wanted. I never criticized them for any of their bad work. I never sat down with them and told them what areas they needed to improve on. I was super good boss, right? Something happened over the course of time when I finally had this dawning moment to where I realized that I was actually a terrible boss. Employees crave consistency. They crave to know exactly where they stand. And the number one thing that I realized that I wasn't giving them was I wasn't giving them those things. I wasn't giving them consistency. I was just kind of being their friend. And yes, you can be too nice of a boss to your employees. So this is over time. This is our. This was just this last year. This was our fleet taken this summer. We had 70 employees. This year we actually hired about 25 employees over the course of 1 month. And our retention rate typically is about, our average turn of employees is about once every 2 years, which is better than industry average. But with this big of a crew, that's typically where we're at. So what I want to share with you during this presentation is exactly the things that I learned that helped us get to this point. Because I did not get to this point just because of myself, not even close. I am not that smart. I hate to break it. But I hired smart people, people that could help me pursue bold goals. So we're going to talk about advertising versus attracting. Now we're going to get into some really nitty-gritty practical things that you can actually do for your business. There's 2 differences between advertising and attracting. So advertising, there's lots of different methods that you can use. You can put out job ads in gas stations. You can go to grocery stores. One of the things that we used to do early in the mornings is we used to go to Home Depots, grocery stores, hardware stores, when all the employees were there. And we used to take actual flyers and stick them underneath of all of their windshield wipers that said, "Hey, we're hiring." And we used to put them in all of the windshield wipers, and always we used to like do little guerrilla blitzes of people in these different locations. Restaurants, colleges. One thing that we found is that typically people who are already looking for jobs may or may not be the kind of people that you want in your business. You have to become a professional headhunter. Most of the people, in fact, the national average for the unemployment rate, I think, is around like 4.5% right now, 4.5%, 5%. So this means out of 100 people, 95, 96 are already employed. Do you really want to go diving in the pool of the 4 people that don't have jobs? I mean, just think about that. The person that you want that could be your next fantastic great hire very likely already has a job right now. So are you being a professional headhunter? Do you look for opportunities when you're at a gas station or when you're at a restaurant and someone just has this phenomenal smile, really amazing customer service? Are you giving them a card that says, "Hey, I think you're awesome. Let's talk"? So all these places are places that you go on a regular basis. Jobs Plus and OJT programs. These are programs that you can use and take advantage of that oftentimes state sponsors these things or different grants. The OJT program was a program that we had in the state of Oregon where they actually paid us $15 an hour for 3 months just to hire on an employee in their system. Just to hire on one of their employees. They would pay us to actually train them. That drastically offset our training costs. We probably onboarded about 30 employees through that program. It was amazing. Just get a nice big check that covered the first 3 months of working for you. So check with your local state agencies because there's a lot of different placement options that you can get. You can definitely go after that 4% of people that are actually in the unemployment office. WorkSource is another program that can also be national as well. It's in different states that you can take advantage of and go reach out and say, hey, I'm looking for really good qualified people. You give them a job posting and they'll actually do free job hunting for you and job placements. Having job postings that you do on Indeed.com. On your trucks, you have now hiring signs. That's one of the biggest things that you can quickly and easily do is just put now hiring. You should always, always, always be hiring. Put a careers page on your website. You know, one thing that's amazing about hiring employees is actually the exact same things that you would do to get new customers. It's the same things. It's all a sales game. Social media. Put your posts on social media on Facebook and Instagram. Employee referral systems. This is one of our #1 methods that we use to actually get good quality employees. We told all of our employees that if they give us if they referred us an employee that came aboard our team and worked with us for 6 months, we would give them a $500 cash bonus. So it did 2 things. First off, they wanted to make sure that they recommended people to us that actually were good quality, right? They wanted them to stick around, and they also wanted to make sure that they were going to stay with 6 months. So they were actually pre-qualifying these people, saying, "Okay, hey, but only apply, only come aboard if you feel like you're going to be a long term. We're not looking for short timers here," because they wanted to get their bonus too. Social circles, clubs, church outreach, family, friends. There's lots of different ways and lots of different avenues. So if you take a second to actually write out who your target employee is, where he goes, what he does, and then look for places where you can do it. It's the exact same things that you would do for your actual customers as well. So these are the cards that we used to hand out to customers, to employees. It just simply says, "You're awesome, let's talk." And then it says, "Why join us? Competitive pay that recognizes talent, full benefits package, killer company culture." And we have a little spot there for referred by, so when our employees gave those out to people while they were headhunting as well, that we would actually be able to give them their bonus. There's also a different variety of sites that you can use to post job ads, and again, these are for advertising methods. Workable is one. ZipRecruiter is another. Indeed.com. Workable is one that posts on a couple dozen different job boards all at once. We used a company called WorkStep that also could help out with getting some good talent. We would put a job posting in and we get about 80 to 100 technicians apply for a job just through WorkStep alone. And we would hire them all day long through that funnel. This is why it's important to always be hiring, is that even when you aren't in desperate needs for an employee, you can build a database. So every single employee that we sat down with and we talked to and we interviewed them, we would score them on a scale of 1 to 10 in a variety of different places, and then we just put it in an Excel sheet. We have their resume attached to it, we have their phone, we have how the interview went, and then when we needed somebody, the first thing that we would do was call this list down, and we'd sort it. So even if we weren't hiring and we found someone that was really great, we'd say, "Hey, you know what? We would love to have you join our team. We don't have an opening right now, but I think you would be a phenomenal fit in this company. Would it be okay if when we did have an opening that came up, I could give you a call and just see if it aligned and you could actually work here?" Everyone says, yeah. But then that's what we would do. We would call down. So oftentimes we call down a list of 250 people that we had already pre-screened, applied, that we said would be good to go, and we could get someone started up literally within just a few days of having someone join.
In your later years of the company, as you were, ramping up and had grown, was this one of the things that you were still doing, or were you delegating this off to an employee? Were you in charge of hiring and firing, or?
I'll get to that in a second. So with regards to attracting, we talked about the advertising methods and ways that we can actually advertise and pay money to get employees coming in. But these are two really, really important questions to ask yourself. Why would employees want to come work for my company? What's the big draw? What makes your company special? This is a question that a lot of times, how many people have heard on the internet where people just say, I just can't find any good employees. I can't find any good employees. Where are they? Are you a good boss? Do you have a good opportunity? Do you have a good company? It's a really, really competitive market. And that's why I say you want to look at these things just like you would attracting customers to your business. What sets you apart from your competitors? Why would they hire a spray wash versus a competitor that's up the road? What makes you different? There are things, that's why people come to you for business. Yeah. So how are you being the best as far as employer goes? What are you bringing to the table that really, really makes you unique and you special, your company special? Why would they be loyal? A lot of people think that loyalty is just money. Pay them enough money. My guys want a raise. My guys want a raise. My guys want a raise. I got to give them more money. You need to have more money. Money's a tiny part of it, but they've done surveys of hundreds of thousands of employees that work for a variety of different companies. And number one on the list is appreciation and recognition. It's the number one reason. Is employees feeling appreciated and recognized. When's the last time you just thanked your employees for a great job? High-fived them, gave them some public praise. A feeling of belonging. Think about how many hours an employee spends at your business compared to how many hours they spend at home in their personal life. It's like 40% of their waking hours are spent at your company. Do they feel like they belong? Does it feel like a family environment? Do they feel cared for? Do you have a positive working environment? Are you tenacious when it comes to defending them and making sure that your culture always stays positive? Are you constantly making sure that if there's negative influences, yeah, but he's a great worker. He's just a great worker. Yeah, all the guys hate his guts, but he's a great worker. He's a really great worker. Yeah, he's a bully, but you know what? No one can do production like he can. You would be amazed at how much, I'm willing to bet that in those types of situations, the decreased productivity of your other employees based upon this one stellar employee, he's not stellar if he's cancerous and negative in your business. Benefits even outranked money. Benefits. Now, how many people are like, oh man, benefits, that's expensive. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready for that yet. I have a couple of resources I want to share with you. One of them is Zenefits with a Z. Zenefits, like benefits, but with a Z. Another one is Gusto. 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 These are HR platforms that can provide benefits at very, very inexpensive rates. And offering benefits does not have to be something to where you pay 100% of all the benefits for your employees. Now, every state is a little bit different.
What was the second one again?
Gusto. Gusto. So, for instance, one of the benefit packages that we offer is we offer health, dental, vision, and 401k. That's what we advertise. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? You think some technicians would be like, oh, this company's kind of legit. Yeah, absolutely. You know how expensive it was? For our health benefits, we paid an average of $1 per hour per employee. About $160 a month. That's nothing. That's nothing. It's the difference between paying someone $14 an hour and $15 an hour. Do you ever really bat an eye when you give someone $1 an hour raise? Honestly? No. What if you could offer them health benefits? And then they contribute a little part of that, but it's pre-tax. which means they don't have to get their net check, then pay after taxes for their health insurance like they would if you didn't offer benefits. So you're actually giving them a savings by you offering benefits as a company, because all the deductions come out pre-tax. It's pretty cool. Dental and vision was like anywhere between $10 and $25 a month for those benefits. And we actually didn't pay for those. They were voluntary benefits, but we gave them the platform to be able to opt in for them and get them pre-tax. So we didn't pay for those either. 401k, we did not contribute into their 401k, so we offered the platform for them. We wanted to get to the point to where we did start contributing into their 401k, but at least you're giving them the vehicle to be able to opt in for it, and you're able to advertise that you offer 401k. So there's things that you can do that is all part of marketing, because look, employees care more about benefits than they do care about money. Are you obsessing over the money side of things, or are you looking at what really truly matters to employees? Employees don't quit jobs, they quit bosses. They quit bosses. So don't always blame it on, oh, well, this job just sucks. No, probably you suck.
It's worse than that.
I know that I sucked. I know that I sucked as a boss. And it wasn't until I started getting more systems in place and actually taking a really, really close eye at making sure that we're engaging our employees and making them, setting them up for success, that things really started changing. Do you have a question?
How would you, I guess, practice 1 and 2 without getting into that friendly area?
That's a great question. We're going to go over that. This is a recommended book that I am going to recommend everybody read. How many people here will not read a book no matter how hard someone tells you to read it?
I've read one in my life.
2, 3, 4. 4 people never read a book. Would you guys listen to a book?
Yes,
Listen to a book? Would you listen to a book? You'll consider it. Consider it. Yeah, I could change my life. I'll think about it. Go into Audible. Audible, you can download it, you can listen to it while you're spraying bleach everywhere. It's really, really easy to do. This book made me cry. Legitimately made me cry. It completely shifts your mindset into caring about what your employees care about. Why would your employees care about what you care about if you don't care about what they care about? When we sit down and we do interviews with our employees, we say, hey, tell me about your dreams. What do you want to accomplish in life? What's your dream job? Tell me about your dream job. Guess what? It's not to be a roof cleaner or a pressure washer or a window cleaner. Does anybody ever really grow up saying, someday I want to work for a company and be a window cleaner for $14 an hour? Yeah, that's my dream. No. How selfish is it of you to hold back one of your employees from reaching their dreams? Your employees know it's selfish. That's why they don't care about you. That's why they do not care about what your dreams are. You don't care about their dreams. That's why I cried when I read this book. Because I was guilty of that. No, I just wanted them to stay with me for as long as humanly possible. I don't want them moving on. I need them. What do they need? So one of the things that we do is we sit down and we say, what is your dreams? What are your goals? You're going to be one of 2 people. Number 1, you're going to be someone that joins our company, and your dream is not to be a window cleaner. Your dream is not to be a roof cleaner. And you know what? That's okay. While you're here, we promise to give you one of the best working environments that when you do leave to go pursue your dream job, you're going to say, man, that company was one of the best companies I ever worked for. And I would be even more proud if our company could actually help you get that dream job. How many employees do you think hear that on a job interview? All of a sudden they're like, whoa, what is this place? What do you guys do again? You do roof cleaning? You do window cleaning? Actually care about them, take an interest. So we say, you're gonna be one of those first people. What's your dream? Well, I'd love to be a graphic designer. I would love to do graphic design. I'd love to do sales. I'd love to do these types of things. You open up a conversation. Don't try to hide the fact of, well, I don't know when he's going to be leaving or when he's not going to be leaving. If you want viciously loyal employees, you will care about them just as viciously and care about what matters to them and their families. The second kind of person is someone that actually comes aboard our team, loves our culture so much that they say, you know what, I want to make a career here. I want to be an operations manager. I want to be a sales manager. I want to be an office manager. I want to help out. I want to contribute. I got skills that I would love to develop to be a valuable asset because this company feels like home. And that'll be the second type of person that works here. Which person are you? Oh, you know what, man, honestly, I'm just looking for a job. You know, I only want to be here for, maybe a year, or so. Now you can actually have an open conversation with your employees before you bring them aboard. It's not just oh crap, I just got fired from my job last week. I need any job. Okay, this job will do. And then the second he comes aboard, he's instantly looking for his job that he really wants. Because then, how much is the cost of turnover again? $5,600. So here's some of the things that we do in our business. This is when we were very young in our company, only had just a few employees here, all of our employees here. We did go-kart racing. Took our whole teams out, going to do go-kart racing. Took them out to a little pub area and played pool, foosball. This was a golf tournament that we did with all of our team members. Everyone picked out their own team names. So we had Paint in the Glass. We had the Squeeshies for the girls team. We had the Bleach Boys. We had the Streakers. So everyone named their own teams. We had a shirt company actually design all of the different logos for all of the shirts and stuff. And go out there. People are posting to their Facebook walls, posting to their Instagram, saying best company ever. This is one of the cheapest things we ever did. It was a river float. Cost us nothing. Employees bought their boats, they bought inflatables. We basically went and bought, beer and snacks and food and stuff like that. We just went out and just floated the river. We just went out there, everyone launched, and it was incredible. And people saying that was the best day they ever had at work. We have a library in every single one of our offices of business books. Because we foster and encourage personal development while a company works for our company. So we have books like Tribes, Quitter, Leaders Eat Last, How to Win Friends and Influence People, The E-Myth, books that were game-changing, life-changing for you. Why wouldn't you share those with your employees? Wouldn't you want it to be life-changing, game-changing for you? But how many people have read a book that totally changed their life? Can you remember who referred you to that book? Remember who was the first person that actually referred you to that the first time? Very likely. That left an indelible mark on you. So we encourage stuff like this. We have regular team meetings that we do on a weekly basis. Every single Wednesday we have team meetings. We have a team agenda written out. That at 7 o'clock sharp, loud music starts pumping throughout the entire shop. Loud music starts pumping. And then we have everyone come in and we have an agenda on the office manager speaking, then the operations manager speaking. We talk about rev hour, we give out bonuses. And then sometimes in our team meetings, we won't even talk about business at all. We'll say, hey, you know what? Today we're going to talk about how to improve your credit score. Here's some tips and tricks on how to improve your credit scores. We'll give handouts to everybody and we'll say, hey, here's how to prepare a family home budget so that you can actually be responsible members in your family and put together a home budget. Things that have nothing to do with business at all, but have to do with building them up as a person. We took our whole team up to Mountain Ski Bowl, did a big resort in the summertime. Did zip lining, bungee jumping. They had the sled racing. We also, this last year, we had an all clean day. We took all 24 of our vehicles out in fleet formation and did this big parade all around the city. Everyone was screaming, happy all clean day, out to everyone. We were driving around with a huge spectacle, people taking their phones out. And then we had this set up in the park down there. We had big, huge inflatables, sumo wrestling, volleyball. But we set aside a budget every single quarter to do something special. You have to set aside the budget to be able to make sure that you're planning this in. We even have planned randomness, which on Fridays we would take a random Friday that was looked like a full day schedule. Everyone's looking at it. Everyone shows up for work. It's a full day. And then when everyone shows up, we're like, surprise! No work today. We're going to go to the park and we're going to hang out and we're going to have an awesome time. Or we're going to go out to lunch. We're going to go out to breakfast.
Was that a paid?
Absolutely. Of course, yeah. Now, did we start out paid with everything? No, we didn't. You don't have to make this huge thing, you just have to get started with it. And there's lots of clever ways if you think about it. You know, even just offering drinks to the guys, free drinks with a refrigerator full of free drinks to the guys, you know, at the hot sweltering days. We bought little neck coolers and stuff that we give to the guys. We bought them, you know, growlers and stuff, you know, for water jugs and stuff for the guys. Just little small gestures that you can do make a huge, huge difference for your employees. Now, someone mentioned about not wanting to cross lines and being too friendly, too nice of a boss. This is how you make sure that you keep your employees viciously productive, where it's not just some big fun roller coaster ride all the time. Having clear roles and expectations set up front. So, how many of you are using offer letters to give to every single one of your employees that have a full list of everything that they're expected to be responsible for, who they report to, what their wage offering is, everything in writing, so that they sign it and then they actually acknowledge, I know what my job is when we get started. It doesn't take long to write one of these up. It only takes probably about an hour if you just sat down and just did it, just executed on it. The top 12% of the happiest employees said that their boss set goals and clear expectations. The top percentage of the happiest employees, they were happiest because their boss set clear expectations and roles. I can tell you how many times I heard over the years of, well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. I didn't know. Well, how could you not know that? It's so obvious, such common sense. Because you're teaching from a state of unconscious knowledge, subconscious knowledge. This stuff comes so natural to you, you can't understand why someone with zero experience comes into your company and doesn't get it as quick as you. So making sure you write things down is important. Having regular communication with them. And this is what all comes down to systems. One thing that we do, I don't know if any of you guys have seen a video where I give every single one of my employees a profit and loss sheet when they first come aboard. And we do these regularly at team meetings as well. So we give them a profit and loss sheet. Now it's not my exact company's profit and loss sheet, it's an example profit and loss sheet. But I hand them this over here, and we teach them how to read it. So we go through and we say, okay, up here is this income line item up here, and income minus COGS. These are all of the direct costs, that, direct to the business. And we make $1,000. We know what percentage it's going to cost for us to make that $1,000. And then we go through every single line item on this whole sheet. And we stop at the payroll technician and we say, hey, look at what percentage we actually pay our employees. We have a budget for this. We have 35% that's allocated for our employees to be able to pay them. Now, what are some ways that we can increase that? And then we talk about the revenue hour. We make all the connections to why they should be doing the check it out flyers, why they should be leaving those at the neighbors' houses, that we can lower our marketing costs so we can allocate more percentages to their pay. Why we should make sure that we're good stewards of our equipment and our supplies, because if that number percentage gets up too high, we have no number percentage to add into our budget for the technicians. When you're really clear with them on what your budget is and what you can pay them, and especially it's eye-opening for employees, if you don't show them these numbers, they'll make their own assumptions as to how much it costs to run a business. I lost one of my best employees, because he came up to me and he goes, Brandon, I'm sick and tired of working for you. He goes, because I see exactly how much money you make. Exactly how much money you make. He was so smart. He knew exactly how much money I make. I see that it's $2,000 that you make in a day, and I only get paid $200. You're pocketing $1,800 every single day that I work. Why would he think otherwise? He doesn't know what it costs to run a business. And then you can sit there and try to defend it and stuff like that. Don't do that. Tell them up front. Exactly. And then even down here at the net profit percentage, when they see that thing, they're like, ooh, that's how much the boss makes. Then we take a look at that net profit and we say, so if you notice, what wasn't on there was pressure washers, large equipment, assets of the business, shop improvements, savings. You notice none of that was on the profit and loss sheet. All of those appeared on a balance sheet. And then we go into a balance sheet and start talking about assets that are on the balance sheet. My employees can read the profit and loss sheet if they come and work for me in my business. Is that not a valuable skill that they'll pay anywhere that they go?
one of the things that I've started doing is, I've been doing it for a while, to help combat that is to actually get my employees involved in signing for equipment. Like when we have the lift delivered out there, instead of me signing for it, I actually want Matt or Buddy signing off on that thing and saying, wow, this is $3,500 for a week on here, you know? And I've gotten calls going, Ray, I had no idea that lift was that much. Yeah, it is, you know?
Yeah.
And so let them know that there's a real costs involved in this business, you know?
Absolutely.
Let them go pick up something from a repair shop every now and then. And it's just, you know, it's kind of an evil little thing. I can do it, but I want them to be able to pay for it with their company credit card just to realize what real expenses
I
we
love
have.
that. Absolutely. Yeah. The more you can be transparent with your employees in regards to the true cost of business, the less they'll think, oh, I'm just making Brandon $1,800 a day. So systems. Here are a checklist of systems. You guys can write these down. But these are systems that you need to have in your business. You need to have them in your business. You have to have interview questions. Regular interview questions you ask all of your employees the same way. By the way, there's a big thing that's called liability in the US. That's a really big problem. And HR is one of the biggest, #1 problems with liability. Really quickly, while I talk about why these systems are really important, I want to share a quick story with you. Without using too many names to protect the parties involved. In Oregon, it's an at-will employment state, which means either of you can terminate the relationship for any reason whatsoever. So that would protect you, right? You think, oh, it's an at-will employment state, so I can fire him for any reason. However, if an employee wants to sue you for wrongful termination, you get to have this fun conversation with your attorney. The attorney will say, Brandon, or John, here's the problem. You will win in court. High five. All your evidence, I can see. He's blatantly lying. He's blatantly lying right now. Here's the problem. In the state of Oregon, when you win as an employer, you do not get to recoup your attorney fees. You don't get to recoup your attorney fees. So what that means is that we will take this to court. It will drag on for a year, maybe longer, and you'll rack up about $185,000 to $300,000 in legal fees just from me alone. And you will not be able to recoup that back from your employee. You won't be able to recoup it, period. So you have to ask yourself, would you rather spend $300,000 to make this problem go away and win and high five, the employee doesn't get anything, or would you rather settle it out of court? And I was like, what? And he goes, oh, so that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is they throw everything in the kitchen sink at you and say, this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason, is all reasons why I owe money to them. And they sit down and they say, you know what? That one text message that you sent that employee on a Saturday and he replied back to it, you should have logged him in for 15 minutes in answering that text message. We're going to award him $7. Okay, $7. Now you have to pay 100% of his attorney fees, which also is $185,000 to $300,000. So having HR policies, having the same parity when it comes to different documents that you have, to where every single employee that comes into your company goes through the exact same process, is huge at protecting you against a lawsuit. It's huge at protecting you against a lawsuit. So all these documents, these are not like optional things. You have to have this stuff in place. Because you would hate to be one tiny little court settlement away from your business going bankrupt. That's massive exposure on your side. These documents are extremely, extremely important. Having interview questions, standard applications. Having lead technician scripts. This is something that we actually have for all of our employees. We have a video module that goes through and teaches them how to do it. The 3 steps of any training program is tell, show, and watch. You tell them what to say, then you show them what to say, and then you watch them what to say. So we have this for all of our job checklists, exactly what they're going to say, what they do in the middle of the job, what they do at the beginning of the job. So we have vehicle maintenance checklists to make sure that they're actually doing the maintenance. We have them turn this in every single Friday, so they know that this is a part of it. We have inventory checklists. We have a big master inventory sheet with all of our supplies and everything else. You have to check it out in order to take any inventory out of inventory. And then every single week, they do inventory inside of their vehicles to make sure that everything is accounted for and all their supplies are there. The great thing about having this data is when this is filled out, it's handed to the office manager or your office person, and then just quickly typed up in an Excel sheet. And then when you have that data, you can start identifying, oh wait, South Wash 2 truck is the one that keeps losing a constant amount of supplies. And then you can start tracing things. And all these systems are really, really good points to go over during performance reviews. So you do employee performance reviews. When's the last time you took one of your employees and sat down and had an actual scheduled performance review? To where you sat down with them. There's two things that happen when you do this. Number one, you're pre-framing the fact that when an employee comes in, they know that they are going to be reviewed. It almost feels like a job interview all over again. They come on their best behavior, they're receptive to listening, it's a really good conversation. We ask them questions like, what can we do to make your job more enjoyable? What do you want your next position at this company to be, even if it doesn't exist yet? Get them thinking future vision. Get them thinking, and it opens up conversation when they say, you know what, I'd love to be a salesperson. I'd love to be a lead technician. I don't know why I'm not a lead technician now. Well, let me show you. Here's all these reasons here. And then you go through and you have a conversation with them in a structured and controlled way. Guys, this is what companies are doing all over the world on a regular basis. You promoted yourself to be CEO of your company. You did. You promoted yourself. You said, you know what? I'm going to be CEO. Do you have a CEO mindset? Are you running your company like a CEO? Having fair policies in place are very, very important. Anything that you want to do with any of these procedures, you want to make sure that you're having them reviewed by a local HR company or a local attorney to make sure that you're not breaking laws. If you have an employee handbook right now, has it been reviewed by an attorney that specializes in employment law in your state? It may cost you $800,000, but it could save you $100,000 later on. Not a bad investment. And then we also have non-disclosure agreements, non-compete agreements. We do criminal background checks on all of our employees to make sure that they're legit when they come into our business. And that also further prevents us from any liabilities. But aside from the liability thing, when they come aboard, they know that this is a professional company. They know that there's opportunity for advancement. They know what that path is because you've made it very clear. Everyone got that all right?
So would all this apply, like your, where we at? The HR policies and all that, even if you just have one employee, is that from your ground floor up to 50 employees?
That's a good question. So different pool sizes of employees also fall under different categories of law. So if you have 2 employees, you may be under different laws than if you have 50 or 75 employees or 100 employees. But it varies every state. Every state is different.
Where would you go to look up?
Contact a local employment attorney in your state, a local employment attorney. And if you Google them, you can see their reviews and stuff like that. That always helps too. No one really likes paying for attorneys. I know I don't. It's not my favorite thing. But it's really important to make sure that you have your ducks in a row. I'm going to talk about compensation and incentives. So we talked about how money is one of the least important things that an employee cares about. However, they will feel undervalued if they're not getting paid at least what industry average is. If they're being underpaid for things legitimately, then they can feel underappreciated. Who wants to talk about what are some pros and cons for hourly versus commission? What are some pros of hourly? Let's shout out a couple things. Consistent? Yeah. Someone said cheaper. You at least know what it's going to be. What are some cons of hourly?
You're a babysitter.
You're a babysitter? Yeah.
Employees fucking a dog.
What? What's that?
Employees just messing around.
They're milking the clock. Employees milking the clock. They're on hourly, so maybe they'll go a little bit slower. They won't be hustling as much. So what are some pros of commission?
Higher production.
Higher production.
Yeah.
What else?
Job done right the first time.
Get the job done.
Known expenses.
known expenses, percentage, you know exactly what your costs are going to be. You can limit them that way. That's a good one. What are some cons of commission?
It's too complex. We'll get into it.
Complex reporting. You got to do some numbers. You got to crunch some stuff. That's could be challenging, especially if you have multiple crews and multiple day jobs. Can be a little bit of a challenge.
You can pay more per job.
You could pay more. You could pay more. If you have a really well done job, it's still a flat percentage regardless. Okay.
Safety violations and injuries.
Ooh, safety violations, injuries. People rushing on the job, rushing to get that clock done. So this is like a really hotly debated thing among the industry. Do you not agree? You know, some people say you only do hourly. Maybe it's not hotly debated, but it's debated. You know, hourly versus commission. The purpose of this is not to say this is exactly what you should do, because there's lots of different models that you can use, but it's to give you a couple different ideas. So hourly versus commission is pretty simple to see what the pros and cons of those are. There's a few different hybrid methods that you can use as well, which can be complicated to calculate, but there's some benefits that come along with it. So here's one option of a hybrid method. Every employee, every technician gets paid $10 per hour, period. They get paid $10 an hour flat rate. But then we have a 3 to a 5% production bonus that they get paid. And that production bonus is paid out depending on how much production their truck actually does. So that satisfies the hourly wage, but it also has a production bonus. Now the production bonuses are tied to a few things like callbacks. If they have callbacks on things, they do not get paid to go back and do that job. The other thing is if they have fix-its or they have no-shows or no-calls, they can lose and forfeit their production bonuses. We pay all of our technicians a commission on sales. This is a great opportunity. If people say, hey, I'd love to make some more money, I'd love to have a raise, hey, no problem. I'll give you 10% commission on sales. Any sales that you bring in, you'll get a 10% commission on. And we have technicians that sometimes they'll make an extra $3 an hour just by going out and doing some sales throughout the course of the month. Benefits is also another compensation. You can see it's a very small slice of that pie. Typically for us, our benefits only cost us about 160 to 200. By the way, a side note on the benefits side, not everybody is going to take the benefits. So when you're calculating the cost for that, typically 100% of all the people are not going to sign up for your benefits. Because they're either on a spouse's plan or their parents' plan or something like that. So it's even less than what you might even think, even just calculating out at 160 a month. Bonuses, different additional bonuses like the Cleaning Ninja of the Month award, everything like that. We have contests that we do from time to time. Or we'll just say, hey, whoever has 0 callbacks and 0 fix-its for this month will get a $1,000 bonus. We'll just throw out random contests and things that we'll do and just kind of throw in there to get everyone towards a unified goal. We'll have contests for raising money for different charity events too, like the Cure Bowl, breast cancer research. This is one of our, this is an example of a compensation plan here on window cleaning and soft washing crew plans. One of the things that I really like to recommend is tracking your revenue per hour for each of your employees. So even if you don't pay a commission, a flat commission rate, calculating your revenue per hour. So we'll just take this one down here. If you take the total revenue that one of your guys makes in a course of an entire week and you divide that by how many hours they actually work, that's what revenue per hour comes from. And so if they're at $80 a rev hour, the crew will get a $20 bonus and the crew member will get a $10 bonus. We're all the way up to $120 per rev hour. We'll get a $160 bonus and they'll get a $120 bonus for their revenue per hour. So what we actually did is we actually have boards in all of our offices that have these big flat screen TVs that posted weekly every single employee's revenue hour. Now, if there's anything that I'd recommend doing is to get your numbers as transparent as possible. Leaderboards are huge when it comes to incentivizing employees and helping them to be productive. So we have our sales goal for the month. We update how much booked revenue we have daily. These are big flat screen TVs where every employee can see them. We have what our sales gap is to actually hit our goal. Typically we have a little prize for all the employees if we actually hit our goal. We would have either Starbucks gift cards or we'd have gift certificates to take their spouses out to work with them. Every employee got the bonus when we bought into it. We also have what our capacity is. So the office actually goes through and they count up every single hole that we have for the remainder of the month to find out if it's even possible for us to hit our sales goal, or if we need to bring on more trucks and more vans to fill up that capacity. So capacity is a number that's really important to track too. And so then we have this daily goal here, a sales goal of what our sales do. So then all of our residential sales guys, we would track their month-to-date sales, how many leads they were assigned, what their closing ratios were, and how many cold estimates they actually brought in. So for our residential sales employees, we would actually track how many cold estimates they brought in from doing door knocking and actually just going out and drumming up their own business as well. And then all of our crew leaders, and we have their team names here. We have their week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, what their average is, and then we'd sort it from first place to last place. Guess where the people would come in and they'd see themselves in the last place? What they would do? They would immediately start getting razzed by some of their other team members. And, hey man, we overtook you on the leaderboard. Yeah, we got first place, that's right. And then we post their pictures up on the board for everyone to see who the last month's window cleaning ninja of the month was, who the soft washing ninja of the month was. And that was a huge incentive for our employees to actually step up their game. So gamifying stuff. You know, you have a whole bunch of millennials. Why don't you try gamifying some of your systems so that they can actually have some friendly competition with each other? And this was our cleaning ninja of the month award that we have. So Tanner won the cleaning ninja of the month. We would actually create little trophies for him, and we would give out little trophies to the cleaning ninjas, and they'd have their little collection. And you know, again, just small things that can go make a big difference. So how many people might be feeling just a tiny bit overwhelmed? Only one. Okay, good. Look, I know this is overwhelming. It can be overwhelming because now you've seen a whole bunch of things that you're looking at saying, either I don't have any of that stuff, or how am I going to have the time to be able to put all these systems together? How am I going to be able to put all these systems together? Here's good news for you. You don't have to be the person to actually implement a lot of these things. If you have an office person, if you have another technician, you can start working at creating these systems. You don't have to be the person to create all of these things and be the person that collects all that data. Remember what the two disciplines are to grow your business? Number one is to be a good trainer, and the other is to be a good delegator. So learning how to delegate these systems and creating these systems is something that's so important for you to be able to get to a place where it's a systemized business. So to be a CEO, you guys are all CEOs in this room. You promoted yourself to CEO. First and foremost, you have to be humble, always. I guarantee you, I've learned just as much stuff from people with small businesses that were owner-operators, people that had one tiny little system that I thought was a great idea that I put into place. Never be too proud to think that you can't learn something from someone else, even if they don't have a multi-million-dollar business. Take advantage of peer learning between all of you. When we're at breaks, ask questions about what are some of the systems that you have. Share resources. Maybe one of you has an operations document that would really help you out. You have a office document that would help that person out. Share and collaborate. It's the number one thing that makes me so sad when I see in the industry that people who are going to be teachers and coaches and mentors need to be vetted or something like that. Everybody has something to offer. Everyone has something to offer. You guys have something to offer as well. Make sure you stay humble. Set the standard in your business. If you do 100%, your employees will always do 80% of whatever you do. Very likely they will always do 80% of what you do. So with your technicians, if your shop isn't 100% spotless all the time, and your vehicle isn't that way, and your stuff isn't all put together just right, the technicians will take that same attitude towards their vehicles and towards their equipment. So you need to make sure that you keep that standard set always very high. Now the good news is if you have a technician that says, hey, you know what, I'd love to be an operations manager. I'd love to be a lead technician. You can sit down with them and you can say, look, your truck's a mess. You leave equipment on the job site a lot. If I'm going to promote you to an operations manager position, you have to be so far above reproach that no one can look at you and say, you know, well, you didn't do that when you were a technician. So you can have good conversations to help your employees actually make sure that they're setting the standard as well. Be a good listener. Listen to your employees. Listen about what their dreams are, what their goals are. Be caring. Care about them. They will be viciously productive. Don't be a boss. If you ever feel like you're this guy up here to the right that's pointing and telling all your employees to do, try jumping in and being a leader and make sure that you are leading your company like a CEO would lead the company.